Welcome to American Narratives, where we talk about the bold, unexpected, and deeply human side of career change. I'm Marianne Pina.
And I'm Joe Fracham. This season, we're doing something a little different. We're hitting pause on the linear success story and hitting play on the pivot.
Because let's be honest, life rarely goes according to plan. Sometimes we choose change, and sometimes change chooses us. But either way, those turning points shape who we are and how we lead.
American Narratives was created by CMP to share real stories of identity, resilience, and leadership. And this season, we're zooming in on the moments when people pivot the script.
You'll hear from leaders, executives, change makers, and everyday people who've reinvented their careers and themselves with clarity, courage, and a whole lot of honesty.
So, if you're in the middle of a change, considering one, or just curious how people bounce forward, not back, you're in the right place.
Let's get into it. This is American Narratives Season 4. Welcome to American Narratives. I'm Marianne Pina.
And I'm Joe Fracham, and today we have Carol Vargas. Carol, welcome.
Welcome, Carol.
Thank you, Marianne and Joe. It's an honor to be here with you today.
I should say Dr. Carol Vargas.
That is true.
That's a big part of your story, Carol Vargas, PhD, but we'll get to that soon enough. But we're so glad to have her. Carol has worked with us at CMP for some time now, and she's just been a delight to have on the team. She's part of the CMP familia.
Yes, she is.
All right.
So joining us today is Dr. Carol Vargas Bautista. She's a scientist turned executive coach who helps leaders and professionals turn big ideas into real impact. With a PhD in biochemistry and over 16 years of experience, she's worked across academia, biotech, and healthcare, always bridging the gap between science and strategy. Today, she empowers people to navigate career transitions with confidence and helps organizations bring innovative solutions to life. Carol, we're so glad to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you both.
And we're going to kick off with a rapid fire segment, right? So just a few questions to get to know you a little bit more. First one is, tell me, what is your favorite music or favorite band?
Well, all Colombian singers. Shakira, Juanes, Karol G.
Okay, I love those.
You saw Shakira in concert, didn't you?
Yes, I did. A long time ago, but it still matters. What's your favorite book or author?
Same thing, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Cien Años de Soledad, 100 Years of Solitude, I guess, is the translation.
That's right.
We saw that series.
Yeah, that's a great book.
That was very interesting. Yeah.
Would you say you have a favorite movie?
I actually enjoy all Pixar movies. And I after I had my son, I watched them over and over and always learn a lot from all of them. I'm right now debating between, I guess, Finding Nemo, and definitely the last one is Cars 3.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen 3.
No, neither have I.
Your kids are younger than ours, you know.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, it's amazing.
Great lessons, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, that this weekend plans, man. Cars 3.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about your youth. What was your first job?
So my first job was right after I finished my bachelor's degree in microbiology. I went and did an internship with a company back in my country, Colombia, that designed vaccines for cattle. And I was part of the team that was working on that.
Cattle vaccines. Wow. That's kind of in the news now again.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the time.
So when you were a teenager, Carol, did you always know you wanted to go into biotech? How did that happen?
No, I didn't know. It's funny. And this is definitely not a story about how you choose your career. But actually, I had to figure a lot of things by my own, and the career I was going to do was one of those ones. I chose microbiology because I went to the university that my brothers and sisters said is the best university in the country, and I was looking for careers, and my sister who went with me, she remembers that I would be like, Carol Vargas, lawyer. No, that sounds boring. Carol Vargas, business administrator. No, that sounds boring. And then I hit microbiology. Carol Vargas, microbiologist. And I've never heard that word before. So that's like, oh, that sounds so cool. I think I'm going to be a microbiologist. And that's how I chose to be a scientist. True story.
Well, that's one way to choose your career.
So what did you want? So you knew that pretty early then. You wanted to be a microbiologist?
I, I, I learned it when I finished high school and I had to choose a major
Got it.
to go to college.
Yeah.
That's how I learned it.
All right, so let's talk about that. Where'd you go to college? Where'd you get your graduate degrees?
I went to, back in Colombia, University of Los Andes, major in microbiology. As I said, uh, at the time I finished high school and it was the time to decide what to do next, I asked my siblings what's the best university to go in the country, and they said that one. I really didn't have that much information at the time. I There was no internet, so
Yep.
I took the bus to the academic building and went and looked to all the majors, and that's how I chose the university and the career I wanted to do.
To get into. So, it's funny. We have to make these big decisions at such a young age, and you just hope you make it right and or have the ability to pivot. And we're going to talk about pivots here. That's a big part of what we're going to chat about over the next few minutes. So let's give us the Cliff Notes version. Would you get your PhD at the same university, and what was your first job, and what kind of was your career progression up until now?
So, so when I went to study microbiology, I do think that Los Andes is one of the best universities in the country, and I really had the opportunity to being taught by a couple of professors who finished their PhD at Harvard. And again, I at that time I didn't even know what a PhD was or what Harvard was when I came to Los Andes to study. And so I asked, and I understood that PhD was the highest academic degree you can get. And so I was very excited. I always was a good student, even from high school years. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a PhD. And as I said, one of the professors from Harvard gave me the course that I enjoyed the most in my life. Best teacher ever, best mentor ever. And I got hooked into science with that course, with the career itself. And I decided I wanted to do a PhD. And when I asked what's Harvard, they said it's the best university in the world. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do my PhD in Harvard.
It's funny. So already I'm seeing somebody who will listen to others and seek advice from those she respects. I don't know if that'll be a common feature throughout your career, but yeah, especially when coming into a new culture, right? Lots of questions and deferring to them. So did you end up going to Harvard? Where did you ultimately go to school?
So after I graduated, I went to that professor and begged her to work for her. Really loved her research lab, her training, her leadership style. And for 9 months, she didn't have any funding for me, so I worked for free there. But 9 months later, she got funding, and I got enrolled with a research lab. And sure enough, she still, of course, had collaborations with Harvard. And in 2005, I went into a research program in the summer of 2005 to work as a research associate at Harvard Medical School. And so I worked there 3, 4 months, and through that time, I fell even more in love with science. The postdoctoral scientists there were very welcoming. Science was just in the air all the time, and I that reaffirmed my passion for science and my desire to come here to do a PhD in biochemistry. But long story short, I took me like a 4 years path and many trials and errors to understand what it entails to be prepared to come and do a PhD here. And I finally got took the GRE, talked to the Harvard professor, and he said, this is out of my hands. The year score I got was not going to make it to the admissions committee. But there are a few other universities who are more open to the score, and Texas A&M was in the list that he gave me. So I just chose one because I really didn't have the money to apply to more than one university at a time. And I got into Texas A&M University in 2008 and came here to do my PhD in biochemistry and stayed here in College Station since then, 17 years ago already.
Wow.
Wow. So yes, Carol is dialing in from. For those who are outside of Texas, College Station is the college town where Texas A&M is, and right in the center of Texas. So here you are. Well, that's cool. Yeah. So tell us. So you've really what were employed by Texas A&M. Really up until you made a major pivot, I think, to kind of go external. We'll talk about that in a sec. But give us an idea of the kinds of roles that you had working for the university.
So first I came as a graduate student to do my PhD. Then I finished my PhD, continued doing science, postdoctoral research training. And then I decided to pivot. And at that time, I understood better also all the nuances and discrepancies that we have in science across the nation. And at that time, I can tell you the statistics later, but basically that was kind of the awareness that made me shift to academic administration to contribute broader to decrease those discrepancies in access to science. And I moved from my postdoctoral training to become a program manager for the PhD in genetics and genomics. Hold it for a few years and then got promoted to become a graduate faculty and dean of graduate studies in the School of Medicine. So I'm summarizing 15 years of.
So you really got into in the
Yeah.
administrative side quite early, and a lot of it was really driven by a need to reduce the discrepancies you saw in representation in science, and that really was something that lit you up and still continues to motivate you, I assume.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's fascinating because that is the first pivot. So let's talk about that pivot. Why out of the research to administration? What was that a tough decision or was it an easy decision for you to kind of make that pivot?
It was a tough decision. Again, I mean, as I go into my career, finish my PhD, and go into my postdoctoral training, the next traditional step is to go after a tenure professorship position. And what I learned when I was doing my postdoctoral training is that actually 85% of the people who finish a PhD in life sciences in the country, and I'm talking of thousands of people a year, 85% of us never make it into a tenure professorship, which is what we train for. And just 15% of that population gets tenure position, and actually 3% of those who really become a full professor after 10 or 15 years, 3% of those are Latino women. And so, of course, the bottleneck starts becoming narrower and narrower as you enter in the workforce. And I realized that I wanted to contribute to, as I said, decrease those discrepancies. But it wasn't an easy decision because when I decided to move to academic leadership, I needed to drop my research portfolio. It was a full-time position in academic administration. And there is it's not really a subtle pride to be part of this elite of intellectuals. When you go into this pathway, it's kind of we all put an effort to be part of that, Ivy Tower, where we are among the best intellectuals in the country and potentially in the world. So having to make that decision is really difficult. There is a stigma around it, even if you go into academic leadership or academic administration. And so that was kind of the breaking point, the forward, whether I had to decide, do I continue doing science or do I go to a place that ignites me more? I'm feeling more passionate about this now, and I really feel I can have a larger impact on this end. And so, that's where I made the decision to go into academic administration and leave my research portfolio behind.
American Narratives is brought to you by CMP. For over 25 years, CMP has provided talent solutions for companies across industries. We have a presence in every region in the United States and globally.
CMP provides innovative, high-impact solutions across the full talent lifecycle. This includes enhancing careers while mitigating the risk of a downsize event through high-touch, high-tech outplacement and career development offerings, taking the guesswork out of hiring through high-definition recruiting and predictive assessment, and building capability through assessment, coaching, and training solutions.
And as a minority and woman-owned firm, we are deeply committed to making our world a better and more inclusive place.
Please visit us at careermp.com, where you'll find a number of resources to support your talent and development needs. Again, careermp.com.
Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, and knowing what I do about academia, that is a big deal, right? That tenured track is really the brass ring where you do research, that you write books, you leverage resources to do so many new and interesting things, and it certainly pays well, better at least, within the academic. So making that pivot really was about cause and purpose for you, about something else that was important to you. Well, that's, first of all, so interesting for those in academia because, for those certainly in that huge ecosystem, this is probably something they have to ask and answer for themselves. Do I continue on that track or not? There's another pivot I want to talk to before we get to the final pivot, which I think is you becoming kind of independent and that sort of thing. You pivoted to a whole new culture, right? You came from Colombia to United States, and it sounds like a little bit of what I heard of is I asked really smart people for advice. That might be part of how you navigated it. What other observations and learnings for those that might be coming into a very different culture from outside the United States?
I mean, I had to navigate so many nuances to come here to my PhD. It took me by the time I decided to the time I was accepted to Texas A&M, it took me 4 years to build everything that I needed to come to do my PhD. And there are so many questions across the way, especially when you are, I'm talking about probably maybe not for everyone, but I came from a low socioeconomic status, and one of the things is like if you're going to another country, the expectation is that you are going to go and make money and provide for your family back home. And that's not what you do when you come here to a PhD.
Yeah, it's not. No,
it's a little different.
Yeah, that PhD track is not a moneymaker. That's for sure.
Exactly. So it really is about having again another fork road where you are like, what do I do this and why I am migrating to another country? Again, for most people, is about being able to provide for their families back home, and in my case, I just wanted to test what was possible for me. And so it's to me, it's been always about, is this possible for me? Let me try it. Let me test. And that's how I decided, okay, like I could have done things in different ways. I could have, gone some other places, some other countries, maybe staying and getting right away a job, losing my visa, my immigration status. And again, many times and more often than not, people have strong reasons to make those decisions. So you encounter those, let's say, quote unquote, opportunities, and it's very important to stick to what you think is right for you, despite probably around you many people disagree that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, so you really had to navigate that expectation back home, perhaps. Others might also. So there is opportunities, but there's some added challenges, obviously, introducing yourself to a culture and different
Yeah.
expectations. Let's talk about your final pivot. I really want to explore this because you obviously went into manager and then got promoted. You're in the administration side, a wonderful university, Texas A&M. I'm sure the medical school is phenomenal. I know people have graduated from there, and I respect them tremendously. Then you said, okay, I'm going to go out on my own, right? I have this, I'm in this big administrative role addressing these systemic issues. Now I'm going to go out on my own. What was behind that? What was the thought process? How did you do it and what did you learn?
So again, I have done several pivots in my life, and it's always about do I am I capable of going in this direction? Like, is this possible for me? What if it is possible? In many occasions, people, and many times with good intentions, they discourage me. Like, this is not, this is probably not safe. Trying to protect me, they're like, you should go through the safest pathway. And so in all of the occasions, I always look for whether what I do really ignites me and whether I can continue growing and I can continue getting into new challenges for me. And so there was a point as a dean of graduate studies in the College of Medicine where I felt I reached a ceiling. And I am oversimplifying. There were multiple factors in making the decision, but one of the factors is that this is middle management, and I was doing more of the things that I didn't want than the things that I feel passionate about in regards to, for example, impacting students and postdoctoral trainees and scientists in regards to their career and their opportunities to successfully land. So I met coaching during that time when I was dean of graduate studies, and that was kind of what excited me again. I realized that through coaching, because I've done a lot of teaching and mentoring in my life, but through coaching I could have a broader impact on people and fields that were not necessarily my area of expertise, and I could do more of that and less of the day-to-day task that were not really fulfilling me as a person. So that was kind of one of the reasons I felt, let me see if I can have a broader impact outside academia, reaching out and empowering people from all kind of fields, not only scientists and STEM professionals as I started doing it.
Well, so it really was cause driven again. And it really is around having impact, having meaning in your work. And you kind of hit a ceiling. And within large bureaucracies, that happens, right? I mean, my last real job was in a very large company. And I was in a big position. And I didn't feel fully empowered, if I can be honest with you. And it frustrated me to go to meetings that I was just a cog in the wheel, even in a big role. And so that angst, I think, is felt by a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
You did something
It's
about
the
it.
common denominator of all of us having that aha moment and making the pivot.
Yeah. So it was cause oriented. It was, I want to see if I have impact. You explored coaching and said, here it is, here I go. And you dove in. How has that transition gone in your mind? What have you learned, and how would you qualify it at this point?
So it's been exciting. I am definitely happier than when I was back, 2 years ago at A&M. But as every challenge and pivot that I take, it's a learning curve and it's typically longer than
Yeah.
I picture it, right? So being an entrepreneur is being, full of lessons and uh, also a roller coaster of, oh yeah, now I'm, have the opportunity to serve this much, and then maybe some months less than I thought. But always really very excited about the possibility of expanding, and again looking into how do I do this, what am I capable of, am I able to grow, and how do I grow. So you were asking me about my qualifications. 4 years ago, when I was still in A&M, I got introduced to coaching. So I decided I was going to go to training for coaching, Hudson Institute in California, took a training, and then I started to walk the journey to become accredited executive coach by the International Coaching Federation. And it's a long journey, especially the way I took it, because apparently, I always learn after the fact that there is always an easier way.
Yeah.
But it took several years to complete all the requirements, and they are very rigorous in regards to what needs to be done, and they exhaustively look for all the requirements and make sure that you fulfill them. So yeah, it took me, let's say, this past last year, a lot of work to complete it, and last month I got finally that credential.
Ah, virtual high five. That's
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
fantastic.
you.
It is a big deal. That is a huge. So PhD slash ICF certified.
That's
We need to
right.
make sure we get all those letters and acronyms on your name. Well, no, that is a big deal. So you've tooled yourself up. You have wonderful experience to draw from. Is your focus broader executive coaching? Is it still the discrepancy issue you see within representation? Kind of, where would you say your focus is going to be?
I like to empower people, and I do feel again a strong connection to science. I still promote a lot of my activities across universities. So Texas A&M University contracts me for workshops, leadership workshops for scientists. We've done it as well with other couple of universities, MD Anderson and in the Texas Medical Center. And that's kind of, where I grew up and where I am from. But it's all about empowerment. Working with you guys has been fascinating because I get to learn from other perspectives that I never was exposed to. So now I've worked with people from the financial field and people from manufacturer companies, and it's amazing to see how other people see in their perspectives in regards to many things that I took for granted because I was trained in certain way. So if it's somebody who really needs empowerment, I'm there for it. Let it be scientists, underrepresented population, let it be, woman, whatever, whoever feels they need to increase their toolkit. I'm there to support the journey.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, I'm motivated.
I know. Carol, so you've got great experience. You've done a few pivots, and there's been a lot of lessons learned for you. What would you like to tell the audience, like some golden nuggets that you want to leave?
Um, so I would say fear is always there. Every time that I've made a transition, there is always this narrative about, do I, am I gonna lose what I already gained through my efforts? And the reality is that I don't think you ever lose anything. Like everything, just it's an extra layer, and everything you've done in the past is always going to facilitate your next level, whatever that is, as bifurcated as it might seem. So don't be afraid of that next move. I would say this is always something that I always make sure, like, keep your finances straight. Like, to me, it's vital to be able to provide for your family and make sure that everything is a straight line there. But after that, don't fear anything else that is uncertain, because um, what is true is that every time that you get to accomplish something, you surprise yourself, for because you tested your limits and they were not your limits, they were in your mind. And so you can go the next level and the next level. And even if you reach a limit, I've done in my life as well, that's okay too, because then how far you were able to go. And you'll always be surprised of the fact that you can go farther that you can even imagine. So that's what I would say. Just don't let fear obstruct or stops you from growing. And yeah, and always think, as I said, always explore what is possible for you.
That's great. That's great advice. I mean, don't
Oh,
let fear be a barrier to your growth, right?
and it often is. It's
Yeah.
the big kind of the F word. It's the full word F word. Fear. It is such a self-constraining, self-fulfilling prophecy, and that is a constant theme I hear from people who do pivots, which is they had to overcome, circumvent, push in the back, unsubstantiated fear. And when I think of your trajectory from Colombia, the United States, to some top academic institutions, to a PhD, to obviously being administration, and now launching on your own. You've traveled a lot of ground, and you're still just getting going. So I think it's going to be fun
Oh, I
watching
know.
kind of where your path takes you here in the next decade or two. And we are really excited to be part of it. I know one place people can get a hold of you is through CMP, because you do work with us, and we're glad to have you on our coaching group and our outplacement consulting group. Where else could they reach out and get a hold of you if any of our listeners want to kind of learn more about you or even connect with you?
I am actively on LinkedIn all the time. And just because it's close to my heart, I also use a lot of Instagram, but in Spanish.
Yeah.
So, so if somebody speaks Spanish and feel more comfortable doing it that way, they can also follow me at Carol M. Vargas B in Instagram. And so, both of those, I'm very active in regards to my coaching endeavors.
Wonderful. Well, there you go. LinkedIn and Instagram.
And
Carol.
CMP.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
CMP.
yeah. Well, thank you for coming, Carol. It's been a delight getting to know you, your story. I know so many of us have learned a lot about you and learned a lot that's very applicable. A lot of our listeners really have paths and backgrounds that are very similar to yours. So I'm sure that they're going to get a lot from this. And again, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much again for inviting me. It's an honor.
All right.
All right.
Terrific. Adios. Be good.
American Narratives is brought to you by CMP, a talent and career transition firm providing solutions across the full talent lifecycle.
From recruiting to talent development to outplacement, we help leaders improve our world through deep insights and impactful talent solutions.
For more information, visit us at careermp.com.